So tomorrow we're having the extraction for the tooth that may or may not be the cause of the neuralgia. We hope it is. I have had extractions before. I've had 4 of healthy teeth, in fact, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, for my fixed brace a number of years ago. But this is the first bad tooth I've had to have taken out, and I suppose I am a little bit nervous about it, maybe just slightly. So I thought I would do a rather different thing this week, as not a lot has happened either. I haven't even been able to get to the allotment this week because of the September weather that's beginning to set in. As I had to wear one of my shirts this week to work for a charity event, I thought I would go through what's known as my Exquizite Collection, which is a collection of apparel, I suppose you might say, all of which is named. So I thought I'd start with my ties, because they're rather unoffensive, aren't they? The first tie I've got is this one. It's a nice sort of reddish mauve colour, and I don't know if you can see the imprint on it there, but that is one of several, in fact, little standards for the University of Bradford, which is where I went as an undergraduate. And so this is known as my Bradford tie, bizarrely enough. The next tie is this one, rather more imposing. It's dark. It's a dark blue navy with red and white, and you can see again the little signature in the bottom there. This is this is a tie from St Paul's Cathedral. It's sort of like an official tie, if you like, because it's got the official marking on there. Bizarrely enough, I call it my St Paul's tie. And the next tie has loads and loads of little markings on it. Here we are. If we look at one of them, I don't know if you can see that shield there. That is the mark of Exquizite College, which is part of the University of London. It's a Jesuit college, quite old, 400 years I believe next year. And I went there as a postgraduate. Well, it wasn't a completely successful venture. I did manage to get hold of the official tie, and so this is my Exquizite College tie. So there you have Bradford, St Paul's and Exquizite. Now we move on to more specialist ties, and here is the first one. This is known as creme, and that is short for crematorium, bizarrely enough. This tie, it's nicely patterned. It's black, but it's got a sort of purpley white weave on it of flowers. This is the tie that I wore to an interview. It wasn't very successful, the interview, but never mind. At a crematorium in Upminster in 2010. So I call that creme because, of course, that's the tie, the original tie that went with it. The next tie I just call wedding. And it's a bit crinkled, this one, but there we are. This one's a nice one. It's blue, and it's got two-toned pattern weave on it of flowers. And this I call wedding because it's the tie that I wore to my sister's wedding. Now this is my black tie, and this is called Mount Ephraim, and I'll explain why. This was also a tie that I wore to a wedding, believe it or not. This tie was worn at a wedding not too far from Canterbury in 2011, and the celebrations afterwards were held at a big sort of stately house, if you'd like to call it like that, with huge gardens, called Mount Ephraim, which is also a biblical reference, but there we are. And so I call this Mount Ephraim. That's my black tie. And the final tie here is one that was brought to me relatively recently. This is my clan tie, and I don't just mean that in the name as well. It actually is my clan tie. Duff obviously is a derivative from Macduff, which is a Scottish clan, and that is my official tartan. So I've got my tartan in a tie, believe it or not, yes. And it came from the house of something or other. But basically, it's a place that makes woolen ties, tartan ties, officially in Scotland. So there we are. The most extensive part of my exquisite collection, I have to say, is my collection of cufflinks. But that also includes here something that is not a cufflink. It is a tie clip. If I can possibly open it. The box is never so brilliant. There we are. It's a tie clip here, a little gold tie clip, and it's got a little pattern on the top. This is called Norman, and that's because it's the name of my grandfather, in fact, whose tie clip it was. It was given to me by his widow. The next set of cufflinks are these. You can see the box is empty, and that is because, unfortunately, these cufflinks got broken, and they were real onyx as well, which is sad. I called them my Upminster cufflinks because they were bought for the interview in Upminster, and I wore them. Well, they weren't bought for the interview in Upminster, they were bought after the interview because the cufflinks that I had for the Upminster interview let me down majorly and broke halfway through the interview. So these were sort of bought as a replacement. The next ones bought were these. These have little like diamante diamonds in, and I call these Evans because these were bought for me to wear at the reception of my sister's wedding, and of course she gave up her maiden name of Duff to become an Evans. Along with that, I also wore to the wedding these. I call these are a number of the same type of cufflinks, and they're just little bobbles that go through. And I call them Mafia because they're like a family, aren't they? And yeah, well, there we are. Those are my Mafia keymings. Cufflinks. My next cufflinks were probably these. They are a trifoil sort of knot, a sort of Irish knot, which I call Trinity, for obvious reasons. And then I think we'll go to these. These are the only type of cufflinks I have which are actually on chains rather than push through and sort of screw round. And these are known as Inquisition because they were bought for the Great Granville Inquisition, in fact. And they're the only cufflinks in that style. They are in fact little scrolls, you see, which I thought was highly fitting for that. The next ones are these here, and they're basically a silver thing with some diamante studs in them. Diamante is all I can afford, I'm afraid. And these I call Charity, and I can't really remember why, but there we are. And the final ones are these. I call them chocolate, not because they are not brown, because they're not, but because they look like little pieces of chocolate that you snap off. Chocolate. There we are. The collection also comprises of a pair of black shoes, which I call Winkles, because obviously they are winkle pickers, and I wear them on very special occasions only. But the main thing in this collection is my collection of 4 shirts and 2 suits. And the first lot can be seen in the photos here. Now, the shirt there is called Upminster because it was bought for the Upminster interview, and in fact the suit is called London. It's a black suit, which, because obviously Upminster's sort of part of London, which I wore one of two.
In the Christian season known as Advent. Advent is the start of the liturgical year for Christians. It begins usually before the start of December, 4 Sundays prior to Christmas.
The next shirt, you can see that in action in the following clip.
Not much. Here is my white shirt. Now, it might look a bit crinkly to you. If I can possibly zoom in, you can see it's patterned. Can you see the pattern? I don't know. No, not really. But there is a pattern on that. So that's going to be the shirt. Then if we open this, you'll be able to see what I'm wearing underneath. Sorry, in fact, what I'm wearing over the top. So this is the suit. You can see the colour. It is actually a light grey. Get that out for you. A little bit like that. There we are. And this thing that looks like it's this pattern thing. This is my waistcoat. Yes, I do look a little bit like a tin of baked beans, but there we are.
Now the one after that, chronologically, was bought for the Colmer wedding in near Canterbury, and it is in fact called Canterbury. It's the one I wore this week, and you can see the pictures of it as we talk on the screen here. The final one was bought for the Inquisition, but is called Granville because, of course, that's where the Inquisition happened.
Jojo, my canary, is singing out triumphantly because we have had a major milestone. In fact, we've had 2 major milestones this week. I'm going to start again back where we left off.